Cool. Now that you know a little bit about me, we're going to go into what this training is going to cover today. So 2 heads ups. One is that we will cover abuse briefly, but I still give a trigger warning about it. And then also land recognition. And if you haven't seen this before, this is a practice I came on a couple years ago, where some justice is done in the process of just acknowledging the history of what was done to Native Americans in all these kinds of settings, like trainings and circles and groups and things like that. So I like to work it in here. So through genocide, ethnic cleansing, forced removal, there are actually 12 tribes that have struggled to survive and exist in Montana still to this day. In the Missoula area specifically, we're going to see a lot of Salish and Kalispel, or sometimes called Pend d'Oreille, tribe descendants, tribe members. This is the largest minority that we serve at the Boys and Girls Club, and they have developed a rich history with the land here. So call to action to explore those ecological projects and practices, and also to develop a relationship with the land and the names of the rivers and animals and even the night sky that have been documented by the Salish tribe. They have a 2019 account of all of that you can look for. So recognition. And now we'll kind of go over the schedule for today. This is a practice we do at club as well. Staff should be reviewing a daily schedule. It reduces uncertainty, so staff feel and kids feel more comfortable knowing what's coming up, and it avoids conflict because it's easier to agree to something when you know what you're getting yourself into, and you don't as much have to convince people, okay, this is what we're going to do, when they know that's what we're going to do. So in this first video, I am going to go over the daily checklist. I'll make more videos later that will go over the other things you need to have for the first day, but today, right now, this video, we're just going to cover the daily checklist. So I'm pulling that up here. I'm seeing that's not screen sharing. I'm going to screen share it now. Here we go. Okay. This thing is detail oriented and goes into every single part of the day. You can see here, 5 pages long. We're not going to read every piece right now, but you are going to read every piece at some point. This is a great document to help you know if you're doing a good job. So I would recommend that you come back to it pretty regularly to ensure, oh yeah, I'm hitting all of the marks. Okay, so we're going to do kind of a high level overview of it. And then I want you to read these details because it's going to help you have a sense of exactly what you're supposed to be doing. I made this document with the staff, and it is chronological. So it starts at the very beginning of your shift, which is arrival. So most of our staff arrive here to the office and we do a daily check-in. Some of our staff go straight to the site, in which case you would kind of skip this section and just move on to arrival at the club. But generally, like, it's even interactive. You can click on it to check these off. But, you arrive on time. You are at the right spot. You've got your uniform on, which we're going to talk about later. And you know all of that info and are in the right place because you checked your weekly email on Thursday. That's something that I will ask of our staff, and I can tell if you haven't done it because you won't catch any schedule changes or updates. Usually it's to the boardroom, which is 2 doors down from my office. On Mondays, we turn in our old sign in and out sheets. We'll go into that later. You get all of your supplies for the day, you get snack for the day, and then you head out to the sites. And once you get there, you're unlocking doors, you're turning on lights, you're prepping the space, you're making sure you have the right supplies, you're letting our director of programming know if there are supplies missing that you do need in the future. You're making sure group agreements, which we're going to talk about later, and food bank posters and the bead system, all of that's coming up later in training, are up and ready to go. And this is the first non-negotiable. There's 4 of them that you got to do every day at club, and this is the first one, and it's writing the daily schedule. And I already talked about the importance of that at the very beginning here. We've got a sheet so parents know what we're up to each day and have the appropriate contact information. Usually that stays pretty the same except for the activity. So it just needs, like, whatever we reviewed in the daily check-in meeting is what the activity we're going to do that day written on this so that parents know what we're up to. There's other preparation. You're reading through the programming so that you're able to lead it without having to read it line for line, and it's a bit more engaging for your kids. And then you're preparing any of the supplies. So maybe you need to cut out a bunch of orange triangles because the kids are making snowmen later and they need to have carrot noses. But a little bit of prep before the activity. And then it's time for pickup. That looks different between all of our sites. Some of them are in schools and the kids are just walking to the classroom we're in and we're like, hi, and then we check them in on the sign in and out sheet. Some of the time we're in a church, so the kids are meeting us outside the school and we're like, great, we're signing them all in. Side note here, if they have a white box, we're expecting them that day. And if it's grayed out, we're not expecting them that day. And if they don't show up, but they were, had a white box, then we need to do three things. We need to ask the office, we need to contact their parent, and we need to let the admin office know. So typically, that's going to be walking into the office after you've checked in most of your kids, but before you walk to your site or something like that, and going in and saying, I'm missing Riker and Tyson. Do you know where these kiddos are? And they're usually going to be like, oh yeah, dentist appointment or something like that. Second step is talking to parents. And that could be a text, or you could leave a voicemail, or even do a phone call. That's going to be a little bit like, hi, this is Kesha from the Boys and Girls Club, and I'm calling because I was expecting Tyson today. But he did not show up after school. Now, the office let me know that he did have a dentist appointment, so you picked him up. So this is just a reminder that please, on the days when you do pick him up early, let our admin office know so they're able to tell us and we're not waiting around expecting him or worried about where he's at. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And then letting the admin office, okay, this kid's not here. They didn't let us know, but I followed up with the parent. Sometimes office doesn't know and you can't get a hold of parents and you're leaving a voicemail and it's more like, hi, this is Kesha from Boys and Girls Club. Office didn't say that Tyson got picked up early or anything, so I'm not totally sure where he's at, but we don't have him today and I want you to know that because we were expecting him. Now, also a reminder that if he's going to get picked up or whatever, call the office, right? And so then also your third step, you let the admin office know. You're like, we were supposed to have Tyson. I left a voicemail. Office didn't know where he's at, but we're leaving to the club and we don't have him, right? So that totally covers you in that situation. You've done what you needed to do. So that's signing kids in, right? Okay. So now we're back at pickup. A lot of times we are, actively supervising some outside play before we get into club for the day as we're picking up the kids. And then, you read this section. There's a lot of head counting, which is like, I've signed my kids in. I know I've got 25 today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm counting a lot, especially if we're moving from one location to another. And then we start off with snack. Now, we've just found most kids are ravenous after school, so we're going to get started with snack. There are some key things to know about this part of the day, right? So I'm going to go over most of them in the next slide. So go ahead and read this section, but I'm going to go over these in our orientation slides. Then we move into welcome circle. So this is, I would say, the second key thing that you need to do every single day. First one, anybody remember? Yeah, writing a daily schedule. Second one is welcome circle. What's welcome circle? It's an opportunity, namely, for kids to get to know each other, be seen, be validated, listen to each other, and build friendships. It's key. It's in my expectations. It's in my observation tools. If you're not doing this daily, you're doing something wrong. And it can go fast if you need it to. You can use a timer, so shares are shorter. You can do think, pair, share, where you let the kids consider what they want to share and share it with just a partner, and then trade off so that it goes really quickly and they're not sharing with the full group. But this needs to be worked in on a daily basis. And usually at the end of the circle, once somebody has shared, and it can be, one of two things. It can be a prompt like rose, bud, thorn. If you've never heard of that, that's something beautiful and something that's coming up. A bud, something that you're looking forward to, and a thorn, something that's causing you pain, right? Or it can be like a prompt question, like if you were a mashup of mythical creatures, what would you be? So once everybody's shared that, typically we're also going to go over the daily schedule right at the end of welcome circle, so they know like what's coming up. Critical. And then reviewing relevant group agreements too, setting some behavior expectations. So yeah, we're going to be playing tag, and usually the rule is we keep our hands to ourselves. How are we going to continue to be safe and respectful while we play tag and we're not keeping our hands to ourselves? Great. Yes, that's right. We're going to be gentle with our touch. Yes, great. That's right. We're not going to hit anybody in the head or the privates. Perfect. You're going to need to go over relevant group agreements before you get into activities. But if you can do it during the schedule, not a bad idea. First time you're setting those expectations, and then again before you do the activity, you've reduced the chance 50% there by doubling it up that behavior is going to happen. Okay, welcome circle. There you go. Transitions. Now, this is when you've been with club for a while and you're really getting into the groove and you're looking to be an even better staff and facilitator. I don't think you're going to be great at transitions right away, and that's okay. I want you to read this section on your own time, and it's something I'll coach you on later down the road. Programming. This incorporates the third and fourth key things that you must do every day. Okay, so the first one is here, high yield activities. That's Boys and Girls Club's way of saying we put in a little bit of effort and it has a lot of impact for the kids. So these are the programs that we run every single day. And some days they're cultural exposure based. Some days they're STEM, which stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. Sometimes people call that STEAM and they add an A for art. But that's something that is a little bit educational. We're maybe using the scientific process. What do we think is going to happen? And testing it, and did that happen? Making a hypothesis. Sometimes we're experimenting or practicing or thinking a little bit creatively. Sometimes it's an arts and crafts day, or sometimes it's just physical activity, because we do want our kids to be healthy and learn how to play and be active. But we need to run our high yield activity every single day. Our director of programming works hard to make programming that works for our kids and send you with a script so you can run it, and the supplies so that you can fully facilitate it. And it's the meat of what we do. It's the heart of what we do. It's them getting the most out of this. It's them getting to fall in love with learning again, because we're not testing like we have to do in school. So we run that high yield every day. And then this is the fourth one, Power Hour. What is Power Hour? That's Boys and Girls Club's targeted program. So a little different than a high yield activity, because these are kind of like one-offs and they're fun and they're varied. A Power Hour is a targeted program that you could do a pre and a post test for. And you could see during the course of this targeted program, they really got something out of it. It helped them with their grades or love learning or whatever. It also builds on itself to week, right? So we might be doing addition into subtraction, into multiplication, into division, and it's going to be education based. So this is going to be like older kids helping them with homework, younger kids reading them a book in a really engaging, exciting way where we're asking them questions and they're answering them, or we're going to be watching a documentary that's educational, or we're going to be listening to an educational podcast about something we didn't know about and maybe coloring pages, right? So there's lots of ways to run Power Hour, but it needs to happen every day. Does it need to be an hour? No. Let's start with 15 minutes. If you're at a site and they're not doing that very regularly, or they've slipped out of the practice or something like that, and then we build ourselves up. We've never done it for a full hour, transparently. So that's a little bit of a misguidance in the title, but we do run educational based stuff every single day. Those are the four things. We're mentioning here in this checklist, exercise breaks, how do we use technology appropriately, that we're circulating regularly and showing them how to be friends, because we're asking them questions and we're curious and we're learning about them, those kinds of things. And that's the meat of our day. That takes us all the way to pickup time. That's going to be like 5 o'clock. That's when parents start picking up, and it's more cleanup, free play, and talking to parents at this point of the day. And that shift goes quick when we do our activities. At this point, we're doing toodles. I'm going to talk about what a toodle is later. We're doing incident report forms. That's when somebody's done a concerning behavior. We're sharing that. I'm going to explain what a glow sandwich is later. So you can see, we're sending stuff that kids made home with their families. We're encouraging the kid, tell your parent your favorite part of the day. What activity did we do today? We're having them share. And the parents are going, oh my God, Boys and Girls Club does so much with my kids. I'm so glad I bring my kid here. My kid loves Boys and Girls Club. I'm going to tell my friends about it. And that's how we grow. And that's how we get parent satisfaction and engagement. And so, if a kid really doesn't want to do their homework, this is prime time to say, they really didn't want to work on their homework, but we try to do power hour every single day. So can you help us convince your kid that they need to work on that while they're here? Critical time. So talk to the parents. We're having them check the lost and found so it doesn't build up. And then we're also passing out extra snack at this part of the day. Cleaning, very straightforward. Read that on your own time. And then maybe debriefing with coworkers. So that's the daily checklist. I'm going to stop sharing and reshare with the slides. Cool. I'm going to stop the video here. That's the daily checklist, and you'll have a digital version of that as well. I want you to revisit it. Okay.